Hello everyone, it's Helen here with Helen. Thanks for joining me. Guys, I have been stuck in my house for 2 entire days. And I might as well say 3 because I don't plan on going anywhere tomorrow either. We have gotten so much snow here in Casper, Wyoming over the last 48 hours, and it is so incredibly cold. I mean, it is in the negatives. It's getting to the point where I may have to start investing in IV drips of vitamin C, vitamin D. I've never done it. However, at this point, I can't rule anything out. This is the winter that just keeps going on and on and on. And so if I end up doing that, you already know, you'll be the first to know because I'll make a video on it. I really shouldn't complain. I honestly say some of this jokingly. My husband, who used to be a fireman, now he works out at the airport, he gets called out at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to go out to the airport and keep the runways clear. So as I'm snug as a bug in a rug in the bed, he is getting out of the bed, going out to his icebox of a truck, getting on the horrible roads to drive out to the airport, to jump into a truck and then work around the clock to keep the runways clear. And he doesn't do it with complaining. So I need to probably take a step back and say, like, okay, all right, because genuinely, I am so grateful for everybody who is outside working in this right now. When he got home last night and he came in and crashed out hard because he's been going at this for days and days and days now, literally, I kid you not, and going on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, I was just like, dear God, thank you so much for giving people the strength to work so hard and the ability to do that, because anybody who is out there blowing or plowing or keeping anything clear right now, I'm grateful for you. So thank you so much. And so my only exposure to the cold over the last couple of days is when I open the door to let the dog out, right? I go into the garage, I let the dog out, and then I close the garage down. Now, I mean, granted, I can see my breath. Sometimes it feels like I could keel over in that moment, but I'm fine. I get to come back inside and do my thing, and I have been trying to keep busy on these snow days, and so I take on little projects. I dive into the Word. I've been reading through Revelation, which I know every time I say Revelation, everybody gets a little bit maybe intimidated because I know it's hard. This one is sometimes hard to understand. It really genuinely is. So that is fair. However, if you go to the beginning of this book, I mean, right there in the first chapter, it tells you that you're blessed. So just by opening this book and reading through it, now, whether you understand it or not, you're blessed. And so let's just go to chapter 1 right here, and I'll read it to you where it says that. It says, God blesses the one who reads the words of this prophecy to the church, and he blesses all who listen to its message and obey what it says, for the time is near. The time is near. And so Revelation is the book that you want to read right now. This book is so incredibly powerful. I mean, everything that you could possibly want to know right here. It is so personal. It's so intimate. It's so beautiful. You're absolutely going to love this book. And now, granted, if there's some things that you're not quite understanding, that's okay. Because obviously, if you have Jesus living on the inside of you, the Holy Spirit is going to lead you into a lot of truth. The Holy Spirit's going to open your eyes, going to give you understanding, give you the discernment that you're going to need. But even then, you may still have some questions. You might be able to find some of the answers here in the Word. There are so many resources that you can find, though. I mean, if you just look up Revelation, Google it, so many things are going to pop up. Now, you need to be careful because obviously you got to test the spirit. You got to see, what am I reading here? Is this legit? Is this a reliable source? So you definitely want to do that. I know that one source that I like to read is Crosswalk, so you may want to check that out. But there's so many videos, podcasts on Revelation. So just make sure, again, you're testing the spirit, making sure it aligns with the Word, and then just go from there. But just let it speak to you. Let it open your eyes. It's actually amazing as you're going through this. I mean, there are so many different things. I know me, I need a visual. And this book right here, I mean, it gives you a visual. But okay, I'm just going to use this for an example. Okay, the living beings that it talks about here in Revelation. All right, one has an eagle head, one has a lion head, one has an ox head, one has a human head, 6 wings. We've got eyeballs on the front of it, eyeballs on the back of it. Okay, I needed a visual. I'm like, okay, what would this possibly look like? And so I just get online, Google it up, and I'm like, oh, okay. So you're going to get some type of a picture, something that somebody's drawn, something very artistic, maybe somebody's colored something, but it will give you an idea or two or three of what this possibly could have looked like. And then after I have that in my head, I'm like, oh, great, I can move along. And so that's really the entire book of Revelation. There's things you're going to come across and you're like, what could that possibly look like? So you just kind of want a visual of that. And that's why this book is so beautiful. I mean, even here in chapter 21, it's called the New Jerusalem. I was reading through that and I was just picturing, what is that going to look like when Jesus comes, the New Jerusalem? It says right here, then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, from the old heaven and the old earth had disappeared and the sea was gone. And I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven like a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. I mean, that in itself, it's just like God paints a picture for us here. He paints a picture of what it's going to look like, what it's going to be like, how it's going to be. And so he doesn't leave really anything to the imagination here, but I bet we can't even remotely wrap our head around it. But I think that this is something that we can carry with us till the day we take our last breath, because I believe while we're walking with Christ, we do want to know, like, what's it going to look like? What's it going to be like? How's it going to be? Well, this book right here in the Bible is the book that will give you the best description of what it will be like. I mean, obviously it doesn't give you everything, but it does give you a beautiful picture on what to expect. And so that's why I believe it is so incredibly important to get into the book of Revelation. But it talks about everything. Obviously, it talks about end of times. It talks about what to expect. It obviously talks about the plagues to expect, the different catastrophes that are going to happen. It talks about Satan. It talks about how Satan's defeated. It obviously talks about the New Jerusalem, talks about Jesus coming again. It talks about what it's going to be like, how there's not going to be a sun or there's not going to be any moon, but that Jesus and God will be the light. They're going to illuminate everything. It talks about that the sea will be gone, but there's going to be this river of life that's flowing, and on both sides there's going to be trees. I believe it's going to be 12 trees, and there's going to be fruit, fresh fruit every month, and there's going to be leaves that are on it that are healing for the nations. And so there's so much beauty and so many promises in this book of Revelation, and you have to be very careful when going through the book of Revelation, because there's something here that you read right at the end of Revelation that will stop you in your tracks, and you'll genuinely be like, okay, because it says that God does not want you to take anything away from this book, and he doesn't want you to add anything to this book. So you don't add and you don't take. And that's why you have to be extremely careful, I believe, when you're reading through the book of Revelation. You want to read it verbatim, really. So he doesn't want you adding your own spin on it. And he's just like, and don't even think of taking something out of it that you may not like. And so right here, I'll read it to you. Chapter 22, I believe it's verse 18. It says, and solemnly declare to everyone who hears the words of this prophecy written in this book, if anyone adds anything to what is written here, God will add to that person the plagues described in this book. And if anyone removes any of the words from this book of prophecy, God will remove that person's share in the tree of life in the holy city that are described in this book. So again, don't add, don't take away. And that's why you got to be really, really, really careful when you're talking about it. But again, just get in here and read it. Just read it aloud, read it verbatim, share it with people. You guys, this book right here is going to change your life. I'm obviously not going to read through the book of Revelation tonight. We would have to be here for probably 5 months. we would be, but I just wanted to share a few of those things and just all the different promises in here. And it just talks about how Jesus talks to the churches. And I really feel like it gets intimate at that point because it's right at the beginning of the book of Revelation, but it's personal because really he's talking to the churches, but he's talking to you and I, and he's calling us to rise higher. And he's saying, now is the time. These are good things that are happening, but I also see these things in your life that are happening, and I want you to change them, and I want you to change them now. And you really get to know him, and it's very, very intimate. And I'm telling you, when I was reading through every single one of those churches, there was somewhere in there that I knew I needed to change. I was just like, it was instant, like, okay, I need to change that. Yes, I need to change that. I need to grow here. I need to rise up higher here. So every single time I was reading through some of that, I found growth within myself. And so I believe you will too. And then it talks about the book of life, but it also talks about the things that a lot of people are scared to hear. If you're not walking with Christ, this book would be absolutely frightening, but today is the day. And if you are obviously still alive, you still have time. If you still have breath, you still have time. So anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in this evening. I know that this is a very, very short video, but if you are snowed in or if you just have a little bit of time, guys, get into the book of Revelation. I genuinely think today is the day, and it will change everything. And it'll change everything about the way you think, the way that you believe. It will change your whole entire life. So have a great evening, everyone. Bye.